in this session, we'll be engaging with languages and literacies beyond the languages that we normally teach, with a few exceptions. So there's a real sense of challenge in terms of this diversity and how we adapt and respond to it, and how we can encourage kids to look around them and begin to see the landscape and begin to understand, what are these languages, where do they come from, and why are they here, and having a sense of comfort and engagement with it. So now I'll just move on to our first activity, which is a quiz. This is hard quiz. There is no mug at the end. Can you please identify for me and just discuss amongst yourself what you think are the top 6 dynamic languages in Australia? And that is languages which have grown in number of speakers more than other languages in the last 10 years. So what do you think are the top 6 growing languages, dynamic languages in Australia over the last 10 years? Just quickly have a chat amongst yourself and jot down what you think they may be. And here we have the data from the 2016 census in terms of the countries from which the migrants to Australia have come in the last 10 years. So these are countries with the greatest increase. So this is the raw data on the gross number of additional people from these countries who have arrived here in the last 10 years. So it doesn't include the long-term Italian residents and those that were here before, but which countries of residence have grown the most in the last 10 years. And this is just country of birth, not their language spoken at home. So in terms of country of birth, the remarkable thing, I think, is that we've had a greater increase in migration from India nationally than we have had from China. China is not our primary source of migration, India is, which is quite remarkable. Then we see a rapid drop down to other countries. Philippines in the 3rd position, Vietnam, South Africa as if you like, an outlier, a non-Asian country that is contributing a significant pool of migrants. Then Nepal, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, South Korea and Pakistan. So it's a rich and diverse range of countries. When we look and compare that data in South Australia, where additional points are gained for living in regional areas, that is, for being willing not to go to Melbourne and Sydney, you can gain extra migration points, we find a different set of results. Now India is even larger a proportion than China in terms of country of origin. The Philippines remains in 3rd position, but quite remarkably, the 4th largest source of migrants to South Australia comes from Afghanistan in terms of growth rates. And then Vietnam, similar to the national trend in which it was 4th. Then Pakistan, much higher up the list. Then Iran, which did not appear on the national figures. In fact, it's West Asia, Afghanistan and Iran in particular, which figure much more prominently in South Australia than in the national figures. And when we convert that into language, we can see it has a particular impact on the languages which are spoken, actively spoken at home in South Australia. Firstly, looking at languages spoken at home in Australia, we see a contrast in the figures in terms of number of speakers between 2006 and 2016. And we can see that Mandarin is by far the most spoken language at home, as declared in the census, in our nation. Chinese is our most spoken second language, followed by Arabic, which didn't appear in the migration figures, of course, because speakers of Arabic come from so many diverse nations. Then Cantonese, our 3rd most spoken language, then Vietnamese, and then we see Italian and Greek actually in decline over the last 10 years. Then Filipino, Hindi, quite low on the list given the migration rates from India. Hindi as a language spoken at home is not the language spoken by the majority of those people. And then we go on to Spanish, largely from South America, then Punjabi, then Persian Dari, and then Korean. And that's the national figures. And if we look at that in South Australian terms, we see that Italian is still the most spoken language other than English in South Australian homes. Remarkable. There must be something about the weather, I think. It leads to the longevity of the Italian community in South Australia. We see a rapid growth in Mandarin in 2nd position, Greek still in 3rd position in South Australia despite the decline, then Vietnamese, then Persian. The 5th most spoken language in South Australia is Persian. Cantonese a long way down the track compared to the national figures. People from Hong Kong don't want to live in well-spaced single-level dwellings in the suburbs. Then Filipino, Punjabi, Arabic and Hindi, way down the track in South Australia in terms of top languages, coming 10th. But when we look at the top 6 dynamic, this was the question that was put to you. Here are the top 6 dynamic languages in Australia. Mandarin has grown by a sum of nearly 380,000 speakers over the last 10 years. But Punjabi is the second largest growth language in this country. Unbelievable. Followed by Filipino, then Hindi, then Vietnamese, and then Arabic. They are the top dynamic languages in Australia, the languages with the greatest growth rates in the last 10 years. What did you get out of 6? Okay. Then when we look at the South Australian figures, again, Mandarin stands out significantly above all other languages spoken in this community. But when we look at the top 6 there, we see Persian, Punjabi and Hindi are 3 of our top 6 languages, and the other 2 being Filipino and Vietnamese. Persian, Punjabi and Hindi. They are the new growth languages. Filipino and Vietnamese have been around for some time, and we all understand the growth and importance and dominance of Mandarin. And then we see the next 6 languages are Nepali, Gujarati, Arabic and Malayalam. And then Urdu. So the impact in green of South and West Asian languages on South Australian community is profound. And these are languages that we know little about and often wouldn't recognise or be able to identify.